Peugeot Quasar, 1984. If it had ever gone into production, the Quasar might have been an era-defining supercar of the 1980s. Its low, sleek body, featuring the by now almost compulsory scissor doors, covered the same mechanicals used in the 205 Turbo, a turbocharged, mid-engined, four-wheel drive homologation special which put Peugeot at the top of World Championship rallying. With two turbos rather than just one, the Quasar's 1.8-liter four-cylinder engine was reputed to produce 600 brake horsepower, well over 100 brake horsepower more than the road-going version of the slightly later Ferrari F40. 86. The proposed Group S regulations for international rallying in the late 1980s would have produced cars which, though less powerful than the Group B monsters, would also have been more exotic, since the manufacturers were required to build fewer of them. Audi's response was the RS002, a mid-engined wonder which looked quite unlike any production model. In fact, the authorities decided to switch to the more conventional Group A cars instead, which killed the Audi project. If Group S had happened, Audi would have been obliged to build at least 10 examples for public sale. That's quite a thought, especially since they would almost certainly have looked a lot better than the single prototype. Peugeot Oxia, 1988. The remarkable Quasar was followed just 4 years later by the even more extreme Oxia. Although it had conventional doors and the corporate Peugeot face, it also featured hinged, one-piece front and rear sections made of a Kevlar/carbon fiber composite. Like the Quasar, it was both mid-engine and four-wheel drive, but Peugeot also added four-wheel steering and used the 2.8-liter V6 engine it had co-developed with Renault and Volvo. Although it was originally intended for large and not necessarily high-performance cars, the PRV unit had a lot of potential. As fitted to the Oxia, with twin turbochargers, it produced around 670 brake horsepower, an output well in advance of anything found in a road-legal car at the time. BMW Nazca M12, 1991. In another world, the Nazca M12 might have been the successor to the mid-engined BMW M1. Both cars had the same basic layout, but the Nazca was more rounded and had an almost completely flat tail. Power came from BMW's first V12 car engine, a 300 brake horsepower 5.0-liter unit already used in the 750i and 850i. The Nazca seemed almost ready for production, and was followed in successive years by the Nazca C2 and the C2 Spider, but the idea was never taken beyond the concept stage. Mercedes-Benz C112, 1991. Like its German rivals Audi and BMW, Mercedes also revealed a supercar concept in 1991. The C112 was more or less a test bed for active control of the suspension, steering, aerodynamics and tire pressures, and also included adaptive cruise control and, in a nod to the 1950s 300 SL, electro-hydraulically operated gullwing doors. The engine was a 6.0-liter V12 when had just become available in the S-Class. Mercedes reportedly received 700 orders from customers who were willing to buy the car almost regardless of cost, but company policy dictated that the C112 would remain nothing more than a concept.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and